Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Does Quran talks about time travel? Has anybody ever witnessed time travel according to Quran? Well, there are not just one but many stories in the Quran that talks about time travel. Some stories revolve around that people seeing time traveling in front of their own eyes, and in some cases time has traveled and they have witnessed the output of that. For example, if you look at the stories of Ibrahim alayhi salam, for example, or Musa alayhi salam, or a man who walked into a ruined Jerusalem. His name in the books of tafsir comes as Uzair alayhi salam, but Quran doesn't mention his name. Let's look at these three stories, for example. Musa alayhi salam is sleeping, and a boy that is accompanying Musa alayhi salam on the journey to see Khidr alayhi salam is awake. It is night time. The boy's name in the books of tafsir comes as Yusha bin Nun, Yusha the son of Nun. Later on, he leads children of Israel as a prophet. However, at this point, he's a boy, and he witnesses a dead cooked fish coming back to life and jumping into the waters. Now that is a time travel, because generally speaking, if a fish has to be born, it has to go through a long process to be born and then coming to a bigger size. Here he witnessed a dead cooked fish from which they have also eaten from to be brought back to life, and has become a complete fish, had become a raw, uncooked fish, and then after being brought back to life, jumped into the waters and created a tunnel. Another story is a story of Uzair alayhi salam, or the man who walked into Jerusalem and there was nothing left in Jerusalem, and he slept for 100 years. And then when he woke up, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed him a sign of a dead donkey that would turn into dust to be brought back in front of his own eyes back to life, from dust to a living donkey. Now that's a whole process, right? A donkey's birth is a whole process that spans months' time. Here he witnessed it in a few seconds. And also the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, where he slaughtered 4 birds, put them in different mountains. Those were trained birds in different sounds. And those birds, after being slaughtered, mixed up and everything, they came running back to him when he made that sound on which they were trained. So he also witnessed a time travel, in a sense that this whole from dead to life process happened in front of him. These are not the only stories in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about time travel. Now let's look at the story of those youth, the young men, that Surah Al-Kahf talks about. That they went into a cave. To them, a day passed, maybe half a day passed. When they woke up, they were exactly like the way when they went back to sleep. When they went to sleep. So their hair didn't grow tremendously, like 100 feet long, or their nails didn't grow too much. Their bodies did not show sign of 300 years being passed, but 300 years passed. So these are some of the stories. So the duration of 300 years was a day or half a day for them. And when they woke up, they could not even believe their own eyes that so much time has actually passed while they were asleep. And this is not the only story where the time passed or traveled. And the man, Uzair alayhi salam, he slept for 100 years, or he died for 100 years. When he woke up, he was also under the impression that a little time has passed, but 100 years has passed. And he looked exactly like the way he slept. Not a single change was made to his body. And also, there are other stories that talk about the passing of the time. And it is passing much quicker for the others, or it's passing much quicker for one person than the others. So the time is traveling at a different rate for one individual than the other individual. And it is not just limited to a human being. For example, if you remember the story of a man in the court of Sulaiman alayhi salam, that Hafiz ibn Kathir and several other people of tafsir has written his name as Asif, the son of Barkhia. And when Sulaiman alayhi salam asked the throne of the queen of Sheba, her name also comes in the books of tafsir as Bilqis. Quran doesn't mention the names of either of the two individuals, but when Sulaiman alayhi salam asked her throne to be brought in front of him in a very short time span, when the throne was approximately over 1,000 miles away from Sulaiman alayhi salam and was heavily guarded, it was massively huge. And a man said, Sulaiman, I can bring it to you in a blink or maybe less. So that blink or less time, and that man was able to transport that massive, heavily guarded throne from one place to another. So that thing was on a different pace than the rest of the world. Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. There's so many stories. For example, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when traveling on Buraq, whose speed is probably faster than the speed of light. That's why it's called Buraq. Several light speed is put into one entity. And it's going from one place to another. You can't even imagine what is the speed of that. And it takes the Prophet ﷺ all the way from Mecca to Bayt al-Maqdis, or into Jerusalem. And then from there, Prophet ﷺ ascended up to the heavens, all 7 of them, and saw great signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to show him, and came back in the night time, traveled back to Makkah, and the night is still going. Came back, and the night is still going. Subhanallah. Subhanallah, subhanallah. He witnessed with his physical body all of these things. It was not a matter of dream we're talking about. He physically went for Miraj. Physically went for Miraj. Subhanallah. Met all the prophets, led them in prayers, went up to the heavens, had conversations with so many prophets, met Musa alayhi salam multiple times, and went beyond the Sidratul Muntaha. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Came back, and he's still the same age. He's still looking the same. No difference. He had traveled through so much and has come back, but the world is still where it was. Subhanallah. And there are so many other stories where we see the time traveling for one individual, but not traveling for others at the same pace or same rate. Anyway, I just wanted to bring to you some stories from the Quran and from the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or from the books of tafsir, a little bit more details on some of the accounts that are discussed in the Quran, to help you understand these and as to where these names are coming from, because a lot of the people say, well, the word Bilqis doesn't come in the Quran, the name of that prophet who slept for 100 years, or that doesn't come in the Quran. All of these things are written, some of the information is written in the books of tafsir or in the books of tafasir, and we basically get information from multiple sources to present it to you, just so that we can benefit from this great knowledge. We will continue this journey, and again, if you are watching this on TikTok, please subscribe to our YouTube channel in case if TikTok gets banned in the US. and you're not able to benefit from these videos, we'll continue to post them on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section down below. We are still working on a lot of the questions that came from you to me in the last few weeks. Slowly and gradually, we are working on all these questions, as this was also a result of one of the questions that came back several weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. Anyway, till next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.